Alright, so it's been a while since I made a video, but this is something pretty cool, so I felt I had to record it. Um, I'm playing windups now, and man are they good. Doesn't even have rat. That loop isn't even out yet, but they're still so good. I went 4-1 at my locals on Sunday. I lost to a pretty good player playing scraps. Um, but anyways, the deck, right. So, um, this is after a lot of testing. This is about as good as I could get it for now. And as soon as that other pack comes out, the next one, whatever it is, it'll get a lot better. So I've got the Double Magician. I don't like 3 because it doesn't have an effect that you can manually activate. It's a trigger effect. But otherwise, it's a good card. It's a +1 whenever an effect is activated. But like all of them, it can only use its effect once. 1800 defense is pretty strong though too. Alright, and we got double Kitten. Kitten is ridiculous. Bouncing any monster your opponent controls can be face down, can be a synchro monster, can be an XYZ monster. It's crazy. 800 attack isn't anything small either. That's 200 short of a Sangan. And you know how much those Sangan hits get in there. Alright, so we got triple wind-up rabbit. You need 3 right now for sure. It's just a really good card. There's no other card in the game like it except for Strike Ninja, except this guy doesn't have a cost. The only downside is that you can only use his effect once, but it doesn't matter because it can remove itself. So really it can use its effect a bunch of times. This is really the all-star of the deck too. 1400 attack isn't anything small either. And the fact that it returns the card, not summons it, during your standby phase is amazing. That means it dodges Bottomless, dodges Torrential, it dodges Warning to even activate the effect, and that means you can activate Duality the same turn you get your guy back with Rabbit. And you got triple Soldier. Soldier's just ridiculous. He's a tank, 2200 attack he goes up to, and you can manually activate his effect. He goes up to a level 5 too, which opens up some good XYZ monsters. You'd be an idiot not to run it at 3, for sure. Next we got a Snail. Snail is pretty good too. It's another effect that you can just manually activate, and it's one face down card on the field. Doesn't have to be on your opponent's side of the field. So just like Hunter, you can activate it on your own turn without your opponent having committed anything. 2000 defense also pretty big. That means you can set it on your first turn and have it stay on the field until your next turn. Being a level 2 also opens up some more good XYZ monsters with Kitten. Alright, then we got a Juggler. Juggler's just good. It's an out for some of your opponent's bigger cards. They slap a Black Luster on the field, and you don't want to bounce it to their hand with Kitten, so ramming it with Juggler might be your next best option. You'll take a little damage, but oh well, it's to be expected. Minor setbacks. Alright, we got one Cyber Dragon. It's a really good card right now. I don't know why more people don't run it. And with the Soldiers, you can make those easy level 5 XYZs. It just offers a little more speed to the deck, because otherwise you'd be relying pretty heavily on your normal summons. We got a Birdman. I love Birdman. You can bounce your tour guides, so you can reuse them again. If your tour guide gets Veilered, you can reuse it again. You can bounce anything you get back with Magician after using it. You can bounce your rabbits, you can bounce your cats, and you can make Arcanite with Magician too, with Birdman. It's a good card. Next you got your Sangan and your triple tour guides. Tour guide is really good because you can get Zenmaghty, which is a wind-up. People forget that. Or just any other level 3. And the deck removes a lot of cards too. So, tour guide is pretty good. Alright, so then we got Traps, of course, double Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, regular Solemn lineup, and you got the Starlight Road as well in there, because you're playing a lot of cards that are going to stay on the field, hopefully. So Starlight Road is not a bad idea. You got the best card in the game, another good card, and these two. So even though you're playing Defissure, I'll show you that in a minute, Horn of the Phantom Beast is still really good. Rabbit's a beast, Kitten's a beast, and Rabbit goes up to 22 with Horn. So you can draw a card, which is really what the deck needs. You want to try to get to your factories as quickly as possible. And this accomplishes that pretty easily. And Overwind is crazy. The little picture there is with Soldier, and Soldier goes up to 4,400 under Overwind, and then bounces back to your hand at the end phase, so you can use them again. 4,400 can be a game winner if they Solemn Warning, or after you attack with Rabbit and Kitten, then Overwind could win you the game. Or if they just Solemn Judgment, then Overwind could win you the game. Additionally, with Snail's 2,000 defense, having it go up to 4,000 defense could also win you the game. And it's those little uncalled for things that are pretty interesting. Alright, so then we got the spells. The heart of the deck. 3 factories. Factory is Black Whirlwind on steroids. You can use it during your opponent's turn, you can use it during your turn. You just can't use it multiple times per turn. That's the only downside. It's a pretty easy card to support because I play 3 of these. Dimensional Fissure. It's a really good card right now. Kind of holds off Plant Synchro, stops the Dark Worlds from getting their effects, and it draws a lot of fire away from the windup factories. And that's important because at 3 MSTs means they'll be having to decide with a pretty tough decision whether they destroy the fissure or the factory. So that's why I played the Road, and it really doesn't interfere with the Horn or the Sangan. You can just play around it if you're at all good. We got the double pot, not 3 because I like to work out a lot, and I like Magician pretty well too. The pot helps you get to your continuous spells quick though. Double MST, I side the 3rd, and all of these bad cards, of course. These terrible cards. Alright. So, that makes the main deck. It's very controlling. You're not going to win in the first 3 turns unless you go Overwind or put a lot of big damage there quickly. I don't know how. Oh, right. And so you guys know how the loop works, right? That's pretty much it. Triple Hunters and triple Marauding Captains. I'm missing 1. So I'll be ready when that stuff comes out. So the extra deck looks something like this. You got the Gachi Gachi because you're playing all those level 2 guys. You got Leviathan because it's got 2,500 attack, goes up to 3,000, all that stuff. Levier because you're playing D-Fissures, because you're playing Rabbit, because it's a good card. You got Zenmaights. I'd probably play a second of these just because it's pretty good. And it's a wind-up. Enough said. You got the Utopia. That's a 25 beater that negates attacks. And you got the Roach because it's pretty pro. Level 4s are pretty easy to make with this deck too. And then you got the Adrius and the Tyrus because level 5s are or rank 5s are pretty easy to make too. Tyrus is ridiculous. Adrius is situational, but it really works in those situations. Catastor. I mean, these are all just because it's possible to make Catastor. I could Reborn, I could Mind Control something, and because I play Birdman. Bryonic, same spiel. Arcanite, you can make it with your spellcaster guy. Magician, you can make it with Magician. Black Rose, everything should play 1. Stardust, because I play Starlight Road. Scrap Dragon, because it's the only level 8 you need. And a Trishula, because it's also pretty easy to make. So, as I always like to do, I'm just going to open up a couple of test hands here. See, I'm shuffling it right here. Hopefully pretty well. So, how was your day? Alright, so now that we're all shuffled, I'm going to open up a couple test hands. Alright, well that's good. We opened up the factory, the soldier, and the warning. I mean, how much better could you get? Probably about that better. So with this, you can summon Rabbit and activate Wind-Up Factory. It doesn't matter if they have the Valor because you can still activate Rabbit's effect. Or you can activate during your opponent's turn, which is probably what I do in this circumstance. Rabbit's ridiculous too. If they attack it, you can activate its effect. If they activate Mystical Space Typhoon, you can chain its effect. If they activate Smashing Ground, you can chain its effect. It's a spell speed 2 effect, which is really good. You can even activate it in their end phase, just like Mystical Space Typhoon. So I'd probably do that, and then I'm set for the rest. Alright, so I'll do just one more, because we're already at 10 minutes. Alright, Juggler, Mind Control, Duality, Duality, Factory, and Road. Alright, so this is a good opening hand, right? Duality's never bad. Having Duality 2 turns in a row certainly isn't bad. And you got the Juggler, which is good too, because you can set it face down, and your opponent won't know exactly what it is, because you don't set cards typically. And you could just set up your Factory, set Starlight Road, and set a Duality. In case they have the Heavy Storm, well, then you got the Starlight Road. And they're not going to MST your Factory because you don't have a wind-up. You can't activate any wind-ups face down that are during your opponent's turn, or so they know. So Juggler gets in there, uses his effect, and you get Factory's effect. And that's even without Duality. So if I Duality, then I get these 3 cards. And that's pretty good too. Alright, well that's the deck. Comment, tell me what I should change. If you got any more good ideas, let me know about those. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it.